dobry wieczór, Toastmasters. So that's right. Dzień dobry, said the driver as we got into the taxi. Do not look so concerned. Today you will experience the worst and the best of humanity. And with that, he closed the door and off we went. It was a beautiful blue sky type day, cold, smattering of snow on the ground. And we went through the most beautiful countryside, lovely trees, running water. But all too soon we arrived at our destination. And there I stood underneath the arch, and I read the words, Arbeit macht frei. Work sets you free. We had arrived at Auschwitz I, the Nazi death camp in southern Poland. What struck me about the place, though, was how ordinary it looked. It used to be a Polish army barracks, and it was red bricked, solid brick buildings, lots of trees around, but nothing prepared me for what happened when I walked inside. Row upon row of pictures of seemingly healthy men and women. Underneath each one, the date of their arrival and the date of their death. And most of the people survived between 3 to 6 months. It was only when we went to Auschwitz II, Birkenau, the one that is featured in the film Schindler's List with the train going by, that the enormity of the place hit me. I looked at the shacks where people were living and wondered how could they survive. I was freezing when I went there. And I was told, this is not cold. This is not cold. And I looked at what these people had to eat. And I wondered how anyone survived. And I walked past the train tracks and I stood on the spot where they made the selection. Where the commandant would say, that way, life, hard work. That way, death. And I looked in the distance and I could see the remains of the gas chambers. 5 of them, each one capable of killing 1,000 people at a time. And I stood. And I'm not normally known for not being able to speak, but I stood. I was not able to say a word. Our driver must have noticed this because he came up and tapped me on the shoulder and he said, in a very loud voice, he said, Pedro, you need Polish soup and pivo. Well, that shook me. Well, the soup was absolutely delicious and the pivo was excellent. He took us to a little restaurant just outside and I was revived after that. Then he said, Pedro, prepare to be amazed. You're going to experience something that you will never forget for the rest of your life. Well, I thought he was mad. There I was with this helmet on. There we were in this cage, being transported down into the depths of the earth. But when we got to the bottom, it opened up into a magnificent cavern. And all around I saw these statues, beautifully made. And I thought they were made of marble. They looked absolutely amazing. The guy said, they're not marble. They're made from salt. Everything you see is made from salt. This is the beautiful salt mines in Poland outside of Krakow. Again, I was lost for words. Apparently, the miners lived underground, and over the years they had developed the skills of making these statues. And then the best happened when we turned the corner and we walked into this ginormous, enormous cavern. It was like St. Paul's Cathedral, but even larger. The miners had built a cathedral of salt inside of the mountain. And I was thinking, this is incredible. There's an altar there, there's the pews, And apparently, Pope John Paul II went and celebrated Mass there. It was the most extraordinary experience of my life, looking at that place. I could not understand the ingenuity of the people, how they had managed to create this, and it was all from salt. Back in the taxi, I turned to the driver and I said, "You're right, I have experienced the worst and the best of humanity. But why here? Why so close to each other?" This was a very wise man, and he said to me, "Look out the window there." And I saw stinging nettles. Look next to the stinging nettles. What do you see? Dock leaves. If you've ever been stung by a nettle before, the dock leaf is the antidote to the sting. And I said, "Okay." He says, "Wherever there is evil, there is always good, because nature demands balance." Very wise and very true. And with that, my mood just lightened. And off we went back to Krakow for a fabulous evening in that beautiful city. Madam Countess.